Afternoon, lunchtime reading here in a minute. Oh. Remember, when I play the music, I get copyright violations, so I cannot monetize this video. So anybody that wishes to make a donation, you can do so on the main description of the channel. Cash App as follows. Can't breathe in. There you go. Welcome. Here we go. Yep. All right. And maybe I'm too good for you. Oh, do you believe in life after love? Maybe I'm in a college mood today. One of my college roomies loved Cher. So we would listen to some Cher, you know? And actually, this song came out like while I was in college, I believe. This was kind of like Cher making a bit of a comeback, I feel like, you know, in the eyes of the industry. Anyway, I don't know that she had put out some albums in a while before this one. Anywho, happy day, happy hump day. No, I don't need you anymore. Need you anymore. Need you anymore. And FYI, you know, Cher takes very good care of her body. Everyone's always like, oh, she looks amazing. Well, she doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke. I don't know that maybe she smoked. Well, I know she was like very against all that stuff for herself as a personal choice. So, yeah. I don't know in detail, so you can read up on her story, right? I just appreciate the music, but I believe that is something that has helped her longevity, okay? So like when she came out with this album, I think she was like, what, 60 years old or something? This is like one of her biggest hits, y'all. You know? I mean, I like Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves too, but, you know. Oh, all right. Your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn. Capricorn season will be, you know, kind of like after Christmas, right as we're getting into the new year. Okay, so if you've been working on something this year, this says your hard work is paying off. So keep with it. Don't feel discouraged if for some reason things are just kind of chugging along versus, you know, flourishing at the moment. You might not see it, but yes, your hard work is paying off. Do you think Cher thought she was going to have like a #1 hit record on the Billboard Hot 100 and all this stuff? Like when she was like 60 years old or however she was old? Alexa, how old was Cher when she released the song Believe?
Cher was 52 when Believe was released.
All right, well, 52, not 60. I mean, I don't know. She's older than me, folks. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But one day I hope to make it as well as Cher has done. And do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something to strive for. Good Lord. Okay. What else do we got here? Take me home tonight. Adjustments are required. So yeah, you might be working hard, but maybe you need to make a little adjustment. Maybe you need a little, you know, did you work through Labor Day or did you take it off? You know what I mean? Like you might need to start figuring out how you're managing your time so that you're not just in the hard work cycle, that you can kind of take a step out of the hard work cycle and be like, you know what? I'm normally going 100%, but me going at 75% is just fine for quality control purposes. Okay. Do you want me to get technical about it? All right. Oh, by the way, I was watching the news earlier, and the desk anchors I think they're both single, but they probably would, they probably get this all the time, but like, I think they would actually make a cute couple. So I don't know, anybody out there, you ever watch your local news and you're like, you know what? Those two kind of seem to get along, Anyway, bring love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius. So you could have Aquarius in your chart. This was talking about new moon in Capricorn. Aquarius is right after Capricorn. I feel like Aquarius is kind of like, that actual start into the new year, because like Capricorn straddles, like Capricorn will straddle 2025 and 2026. This, season, this winter season, right? The 25-26 season. Sometimes some people are like scary. El Seis de Enero, right? Three Kings Day, okay? Very popular in Mexican and Latin traditions to be celebrating, the holiday season, the Christmas season. Because some people like go to church on Christmas, or, you know what I mean? They might be, then there's people at work, during, that might not be able to celebrate during those times. So the actual gathering, right? The gathering of the vibes, man. Yeah. And I also saw on the calendar later this month is Rosh Hashanah, which I believe is a Jewish celebration that starts at sundown of that day that it starts. I wish I could remember more about Rosh Hashanah, but since I don't practice that particular religion, I could not tell you in detail. But I can't remember. Is that the Jewish New Year? Anyway, so I just remember when I was in college, some folks, because we all have our different religious breaks and, observations. Some of the students were observing Rosh Hashanah or other things. So like, they might not, be at class, whereas, the traditional, Christian break is over, the winter season, right? So anyway. Remember, this is a spirituality channel, not, whatever. Your commitment is being tested. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's why it's saying here, encouraging you to say your hard work is paying off. Like, this doesn't mean push yourself harder. This just means keep doing what you've been doing. Maybe you do need a little bit of a break. Okay, and when it says bring love into the situation, you have to bring love to yourself in the situation, right? Not just to others, right? You have to be set up to receive love as well. And sometimes, yes, that does test our commitment of our faith. You know what I mean? And again, if this channel is not for you and you're just not into, overall spirituality and how you can apply that to your own particular religion, or practice or beliefs, then, maybe this channel is not for you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a no offense, just carry on, change the channel, just like you would on the remote control. There was actually a show on MTV in the 80s called Remote Control. So, yeah. But, before remote controls, we actually had to get up off our butts and change the channel. So how many of you played channel changer for the parents, right? Run up there and change that channel for me. All right. Sorry, he's got the weather on right now. I saw it briefly for the other one, but like it cooled down where I'm at, but now it's like warming up again. So I gotta, can't be putting away all my summer clothes, right? Journey. Okay, so yeah, life is a journey, right? Your hard work is paying off. Sometimes when life doesn't turn out the way we want, it's like, oh my gosh, was that all for nothing? No, it was not all for nothing. It's just showing us that yes, life is a journey. We have ups, we have downs, we have ins, we have outs, we have roundabouts to go around. If you don't know what a roundabout is, maybe there's one coming to a town near you. Back in the day, we just called it the square. All right, we didn't really know it was a roundabout until everybody started getting fancy about it, and Europe started wanting to call it. You know, I'm just saying. Anyway. Yeah, we got those over here already. Breakthrough. All right, dream work. Yes. Right. When they say teamwork makes the dream work. So, collective, if you're used to partnering with somebody, if you're not used to partnering with somebody, you might have an adjustment. There's that old movie starring Jane Fonda, America's favorite actress to get politically involved, right, in political conversations. However, she's had a very diverse career. And but one of her early movies was called Period of Adjustment, when it's talking about some newlyweds that have just been married, right? And this was actually set in the Korean War time. And then they find out a way to, you know, realize why they even liked each other to begin with, right? Okay. Oh my goodness. Anyway. Cherish those that we love, right? Bring love into the situation. You love others, you would hope they're loving you. Are they loving you that way? Well, start by loving you how you would love others, right? Maybe that's gifting yourself a massage. Maybe that's giving yourself the day off. Maybe that's going and buying a special breakfast or fancy coffee that you don't normally get. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be complicated. It really does. And, you know, when they say cherish those precious moments, you know, I mean, because sometimes they are fleeting. It's just like, oh, wow, that was so easy and simple and it was wonderful, right? You know, so when the new moon comes, we're just, you know, we just got out of this full moon here. And, you know, some folks are probably going to be experiencing that for the next few days. You know, as the skies darken and the stars get brighter, right? Think about how much you loved that full moon and how much you would love to see it come back, right? Even though it might have revealed some crazy things, right? Okay. You know, again, go back to what's the dreams that you're laying down. The Four of Wands came out in this morning's reading. If you missed that, please go back and watch it, because, you know, the Four of Wands is about making your dreams a reality. You know, you don't just have to watch out the window and hope and try and count on somebody else to make it happen. No, that's, you know, too long didn't read, doesn't really work that way. You don't end up happy that way. So yeah, maybe adjustments are required. You know, adjusting your expectation. Maybe you've been expecting too much of yourself as well, right? You know, where your level, you know, and somebody else's level, you know, when you start looking around, you know, they say that, you know, not to compare yourself to others, but at the same time, there's something called benchmarking. Okay. So it's like, you know, once you've achieved this, and this, it's like, well, you know, they say don't settle, but it's like, but what if this is what you were shooting for? Right. So, you know, letting yourself, again, receive what you've already worked for, right? Versus saying, oh, what's the next hoop I'm going to have to jump through? No. Again, that came out in the reading earlier this morning, where it's like, yeah, we're not jumping through hoops anymore. We're done proving this and that to frick and frack and spick and span and anybody who thinks they are important. You know what I mean? Anybody who thought they had control over the situation in some weird way, like in their own mental delusion. All right. Yeah. Integrity. You're following what you need to follow. Okay. So that's why it says here your commitment is being tested. Yeah, people will test you, won't they? You hope everyone else wants the best for you, right? But sometimes that is just not the case. It really isn't. And, you know, that's why it's a journey, right? Yeah, sometimes, you know, a bubble's going to burst here and there. But, you know, our bubble's meant to last forever. No, what happens is you have to blow a new bubble. Okay? Oh my God, what were they were ripping on J-Lo? She was blowing bubbles with her chewing gum. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, are they hard up for news or what? Is the entertainment industry hard up for news that they gotta worry about J-Lo blowing bubbles with her Wrigley gum or whatever it is? You know what I mean? It's like, damn. You know, and so don't, you know, in that case, be like J-Lo. Pop your gum. Be like, whatever. I'm just out here trying to entertain y'all. Sorry if you don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so yeah, your hard work is paying off, right? There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like what you do, even if it's 100% correct, even if you pass the test, blah, blah, because there's going to be some little jealous Betty, nervous Nelly, worried that you're trying to take their spot or something just because you executed something well. Now, how asinine does that sound? Okay, so do you really want to give that credence, or do you want to keep continuing on your path? Because let me tell you what their path consists of, right? And I think we've all seen their path on Dateline 48 Hours and Dr. Phil and all these other shows. Or, you know, do we need to bring back Springer? Who's the new Springer, right? It was like his bodyguard, right? It's like Steve something show. I can't remember. I don't happen to watch that one in particular. I was kind of now anyway. Yeah, I'm not even gonna comment on what's other daytime thing I saw, and I was like, really? Anyway, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull some numbers. I think this is a good reading for some numbers here. Okay. So if you're into numerology, if you are into angel numbers, these may be significant for you. Repeating numbers. Anytime you see repeating numbers, or a repeating sequence of numbers, that's kind of like, you know, the universe saying, hey, I got something for you over here. You might want to pay attention to it for a minute. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's an automatic yes or no. Understand that? It just means you might need to draw your attention to the situation. Okay? Again, remember, the 100% free way to support the channel is by liking the video or subscribing. And you don't have to be a subscriber to like the video, but it is appreciated and helps pass the messages around. Okay? So, grounding 432, you are reminded of the importance of staying grounded and centered. So we're in the season of Virgo. It's a great time to get grounded if you have not been, right? Centered amidst life's ups and downs, connect with your inner strength and stability, finding peace and balance within yourself. Okay, you can see she's seated here. She looks at peace within herself. Like, I can sit down, I can rest. Yeah, because why? Yeah, life's a journey. Not every day is supposed to be hard. Some days are supposed to be easier. That's why your hard work is paying off. Okay, you got to look at it that way. All right. Okay. I keep hearing blip on the radar, so that might mean something to somebody. It was coming through earlier, you know, especially, yeah, I this is what I'm saying. I don't even want it's not important to the reading, in my opinion. Anyway, self-love, 676, prioritize your well-being and cultivate a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself. Yeah, I don't do karmic readings over here. Okay, I do energy, and, you know, like there's a reader on YouTube that she talks about, you know, bringing the light. Okay, so and I was reminded of her because of this card. Anyway, but yeah, having self-love for yourself. So this is where I was talking about earlier, this bringing love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius. Okay. You're not here to judge. You're here to, dream up what you want to achieve. Okay? And if, it wasn't working the last time, then yeah, maybe you need a slight adjustment. One of my old hairdressers, oh my God, she threw her mother a divorce party, and I was like, that seems kind of weird. And then they were making a joke like, oh yeah, he just threw out the whole man, like. But and not like, you know what I mean, like in some weird way, but I mean, historically, there's folks, especially men, that have had multiple wives. And I feel like, especially on the feminine side, we have this fairy tale of one person, one soulmate. And that's why it's like life is a journey. It's like we hope that the person we're with is going to be the one we're with forever. And, when it doesn't turn out that way, look, maybe their intentions were different than yours. That's all I would like to say about that, so that you don't waste time thinking of what ifs with somebody who really didn't intend to make the dream work. Maybe they had a different dream that it was revealed. And some of these people are freaking delusional if they think, especially a feminine energy, is going to be okay with their masculine energy having multiple feminines. Like, no self-loving, self-respected feminine energy is going to put up with that. Why do you think they promise these terrorists the 99 virgins or whatever the hell it is? Okay? They promise them something that doesn't exist. That's how crazy these people are. And then they go do nutty stuff. You're not like that. You have self-love. Okay? That's my 2 cents. All right? To you today. 676. Prioritize your well-being and cultivate a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself. All right? Because, yeah, we're all thrown out here into the earth, right? But some of us choose better than others, right? That's why I say manifest wisely. Some people will sit there and be like, oh, I can't wait to see what bad things happen to so-and-so, like just waiting to see some revenge or something. And it's like, well, you might be waiting a long time. Because not only some people never get revenge, some people don't ever even see justice in their lives. Sometimes justice comes when the spiritual law comes in the afterlife. Okay? And even the Egyptians believed in the afterlife, and that was BC, was it not? Okay, now let's get some things straight around here. God damn. Yeah, you ever hear that song by Nina Simone? Mississippi, goddamn. Shift. 565. Take a look at your life and see which areas need to be shifted. What was it saying? Adjustments are required. So I'm not saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? It's just a shift. It's like, okay, the moon was full. Now we just dialed it back a little bit. Then it's going to dial back a little bit more. Then it's going to dial back where you're almost not even going to see it. And then we're going to get a new moon. And that's just part of the cycle of life. Circle of life. Yeah, Simba, we're holding up the lion. Are we getting it? Are we getting it yet? Take a look at your life and see which areas need to be shifted to bring you more joy. Take the time to reassess your priorities and create a plan for yourself. Yeah, sometimes we're so worried about taking care of other people, we forget to make a plan for ourselves. We think other people are actually thinking about helping us. Yeah, there are people that are trained to do that, such as, EMTs, firemen, or firefighters, and police officers. And medics and such, but not everybody has that mentality. Some people go into panic mode, right? For various reasons. All right. So yeah, be prepared, make sure you know where your fire extinguisher is in your house or your little dorm room or in your car or whatever, right? These little itty bitty things that you're like, oh man, that could have really went bad, but it didn't have to because I was already prepared. That's the kind of shift I'm talking about. And you'll be like, oh, that's easy. Exactly. Yesterday's fucking news. This is what happened in the reading this morning. 9 of Wands. People throwing fireballs at you, and you're just like, just another day. It's like, really, people? This is what you got? Like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, when that dude in that movie is like, oh man, doesn't he do great in that movie, that Joaquin Phoenix? I think he is a wonderful actor myself. Release 876. Anyway, let go of old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve your highest good. Embrace freedom in your life. Right. Sometimes we think we have to hold on to things when really we need to release things. And when we release it, then that's when we get the freedom, right? And also, they say, if you release something and it comes back to you, then it was meant to be, right? So yeah, that's the kind of alignment that you really, need to kind of worry about. That's when it's saying like those repeating numbers, right? So if for some reason we're seeing 111 or, and people look up and they see 1111 on the clock and, maybe they end up doing that like a few times in the weekend or they see it somewhere else on a, sign or something or, whatever, right? So here it says, your thoughts are manifesting rapidly. Trust in divine guidance and stay focused on your goals. Okay? So again, the hard work you're doing, yes. Is it a journey? Yes. May it be difficult. However, use some grounding techniques. Maybe that's just going and getting a massage. Maybe that's going and getting a pedicure. Again, something simple. Maybe it's going and getting a coffee. Maybe it's making yourself that hot cup of tea and just kind of like recenter yourself and say, okay, yeah, this was kind of like a little rough over here, and then we had to go over here, and then such and such, right? But maybe that was the adjustment that was required so that you can come out of the situation on the other side. You see how literally, look at this, you guys. It's literally like the moon phase here, okay? So it's like, here it is. It's, it's receding, then it's going to be a new one, and then comes out then from the other side. All right, but it's like it's still the same moon, right? But ourselves, right, we have shifted, we have grown in those hours, we have been able to put things into perspective. Okay, make you notice. I used to do this one with my midnight special tribute band. Detroit leaning, seems so pleasing, gonna make you notice. Just a little trivia for you, FYI. I mean, the Pretenders are very well known now in the United States, but when Chrissy was first starting her band and was writing music and wanted to play with other musicians in the United States, she faced a lot of misogyny. And so she ended up going overseas and living in a flat and, living that rock and roll stripped down lifestyle to find her bandmates and actually get a record deal and all this kind of stuff. And she's still touring today, which is pretty amazing. Anyway, can't miss a beat. I got a new skank. It's so heat. Got something waking at you. Gonna make you notice. All right, I gotta get out of here, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this nooner. If you're the non-squirrely type, sit still for a little bit, see how you feel. You know what I mean? It worked for Isaac fucking Newton, and look at what brilliance physics he gave us. Thanks, Isaac, for all the math. I tell you, I think that's why I enjoyed physics a little bit more than calculus, because physics was actually about knowing how to get to the answer versus proving that you could do a calculation that anybody can do on a handheld calculator. Anyway, not saying anything about the math department. No. So we all know that calculus is the basics of physics. Anyone who really knows the topic. Anyway, until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye-bye.